Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Hello and welcome back to Oxford from the Inside. I am your host, Junaid. I'm in my fourth year of studying medicine now at Green Templeton College, and my pronouns are he, him. And I'm back today. It's been a while since I've made an episode, but I'm very happy to be back. And on this very special occasion, we are joined with our new interviewers for the new season of Oxford from the Inside, Rose and Juan. Would you both like to introduce yourselves? Maybe Rose first.
Hello everyone, I'm Rose. I'm a fourth-year student in Oriel College. My pronouns are her and she, and I'm studying law. And I'm from France also, so please don't mind my accent.
And I'm Juan. My pronouns are he, him. I am currently studying geography. I'm in my second year at St. Hilda's College, and I'm really enjoying it as well.
Lovely. So, well, we'll start with the classic question that we ask in our traditional Meet the Interviewers episodes, which is, what made you want to join Oxford from the Inside? We can go again, Rose, first, if you'd like to go.
So I wanted to join Oxford from the Inside because I listened to a lot of podcasts during the first lockdown. It was really one of my huge discovery of the lockdown. Basically, I hear maybe 40 or 50 podcasts for 3 months. It was quite huge. So I always liked listening to stories, listening to people. I love to speak. I love to hear about what people can bring to others. So I thought when I moved to Oxford, it could be a great opportunity to introduce myself in the world of podcasting, which I like so much. So that's why I wanted to do it.
What sort of podcasts do you listen to?
I always listen to stories, podcasts about stories about people. One of my favorite podcasts is a French podcast which is called Transfer, and each episode is one story, which can be a really sad story, a really funny story, whatever story, but a story. And I feel like it helped me so much to just think about my life and think about other things that could happen to people that I could never think before. And just it made me reflect a lot on myself. And I think podcasting is really a great tool for people to communicate, because nowadays everything passed by the internet. And less people are used to just interact with each other in real life and to just go in front of people and in front of a person and just ask him something. So I think it's a really great tool for people to exchange now, and I just wanted to be part of it.
Yeah, and telling stories of all the many students at Oxford is absolutely what we're about. Yeah,
because it's such a life experience, Oxford. So
yes. And Juan, same question.
Well, for me, I think ensuring that Oxford is able to attract and support the most able students from all socioeconomic, cultural, and geographical backgrounds is a matter that I find that is so important. Because prior to my Oxford interviews, I just assumed that the student body here would be largely privileged, privately educated students. But by really immersing myself into the student life, I realized how untrue this was. And I feel like, again, a podcast is such a great format to go and demonstrate people what the reality of Oxford is. I think the Oxford community is slowly expanding and diversifying to include the breadth and depth of students, regardless of their race, religion, and household income. And I would be really interested in actually aiding this progress of showing people how diverse our community can be. And again, being a regular podcast listener myself, I do believe that the podcast format can really increase access and be very effective, as it really does increase the chances of especially younger pupils being able to listen in to what we have to say. And really, through having this formal conversation, we'll also be able to give a richer and deeper understanding of the interview and admissions process, as well as student life of current students. So yeah, no, it just really appealed to me when I saw it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's definitely the central ethos, I think, of many interviewers. And yeah, absolutely so important, like you described. So you also, like Rose, you just said you're an avid podcast listener. Any podcasts you wanna shout out, show some love to?
Yes. So I think it really does depend on my mood as to what I'm feeling. I usually listen to podcasts when I'm walking to places. Here in Oxford, we do a lot of walking to lectures, tutorials, or just buying groceries. So I find it such a great thing to just do on the way. And if I want to do something more academic, I'll listen to kind of the news. I know that the BBC does the Global News podcast. I found that really interesting way to just digest all the news that might be going on in the world, which obviously helps with my degree being geography. I just need to be aware of all the current affairs. And I think it's such a really great way to just digest it, given that I don't have a TV, so I can't really watch BBC News. But if I'm just cooking or I want something more relaxed, I'll listen to perhaps Emma Chamberlain's Anything Goes. She's another YouTuber and she's got this podcast. It's just quite a funny podcast to just listen to about life. And I really like her voice as well. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same for me. It depends on my mood. It depends on what I want to hear, which is great with podcasting because now the podcasting world is so diverse and you have like so much different podcasts. But like for me, my guilty pleasure podcast, I would say, it's like a pretty basic. I don't know if you heard. Like it's like a podcast from two YouTubers from California that I really like. I really like them. And I love how they talk about boys and parties and YouTubes and Los Angeles. I don't know, it just feels like really entertaining for me. Look, so this is really like my guilty pleasure podcast. So I would advise you to listen to it if you like stories about dramas. And I think sometimes I'm listening to an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but it feels good.
Nice.
So Juan, you said that you're in your second year, like you said. So you've had a year of sort of immersing yourself into student life. I guess as much as is possible or was possible in the last year. What are the sort of things you've been up to outside of your degree?
Yes. So just to build on your point, last year obviously was my first year here, and it was very, very different to what I expected it to be. And it's already very different to what I'm experiencing this year with many more in-person classes. It was mainly online tutorials, online lectures, and sadly, online societies as well. But I was able to join the committee for the Geography Society just because it was a society that I was quite interested in being my subject. And that's been really nice because over the summer I've been able to plan in-person events, and I've also been able to go to many events from other societies as well. So that's been really nice. I think definitely the Freshers' Fair was a great place to be in order to sign up to do stuff outside of your degree, which I think is so important, especially here in Oxford, that you can just be so in the loop of having to read and write essays and go to tutorials, that having something separate is so important. And something I found that's really been really entertaining has been korfbal. It's a Dutch sport. Not many people have heard of it, but it's basically Dutch netball, combination between netball and basketball. That's been really nice to get into. And I've got a few matches coming up soon, which should be really fun. And something I found is that it's such a great way to get to know people from other colleges, from other years. And everyone here is so friendly, so it always really helps. So yeah, exercise is definitely something I would recommend to do outside because I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's very exciting. What did you say it was called again?
Korfbal.
Korfball. Oh, I see. Had you done any of that before? Had you heard of it before?
No, this is literally the first time I'm doing it. But it was just in the Freshers' Fair. They really sold it to me. They're like, "Come, it's gonna be so great." It's mixed. It was such a lovely group of people, and I could see that. So I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a go." And it's actually been really fun. So yeah.
Lovely. Rose, I know this is your first and only year here. Have you started any sort of societies or anything at all? Or is there anything that you'd like to get involved in?
Yes. So I'm in Oriel, and obviously we had to try at least rowing. So I did try. So I row when I don't have a cold, obviously. So I'm involved with rowing for my college, which is such a great experience. I love everything about rowing. I love the fact that we are all together and in the nature, the morning, it's so beautiful. Like really like the experience beyond the sport itself. I like the sport also because I really didn't know anything about rowing. Like actually, my father used to row a lot, so it was like when I went to Oxford, like when he knew I was like taken to Oxford, it was like you have to row there. You know, it's like the opportunity of your life, and I think it's great because I like that in my college, everybody is kind of involved in rowing, even if you don't row yourself. It's such like a culture here, and everybody's like go to the boathouse and just support each other, which is great. We have like we feel like a really great community. So I do that. I'm also with the Law Society also. So I go to events, and it's really nice. And the MCR of my college also, I bake for them, so it's great. And I tend to go to the wine society just for fun with my friends, just wanted to discover some spiritual and wine. So yes, that's what I do, and that's really fun. But I'm really open to discover other things too.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's super impressive that it's only week 2, end of week 2.
Yeah.
You're already done so many things, and it's also really cool to hear that both of you, rowing and korfball, respectively, are both things that you hadn't actually done before, and it's something that you've been able to get involved with. So that's really cool to hear. And I mean, even myself included, that seems to be a recurring theme with the sort of stuff people get into. There really is just all sorts of stuff going on. So for our sort of final question of the episode, are there any sort of topics that you might want to cover in future episodes, or anything you can sort of tease our audience about at this early stage? Rose, would you like to go first?
I think we should do an episode about alumni from Oxford and how it has, like how they think Oxford has impacted, you know, their way of thinking now. Like because we talk about a lot about Oxford being like one of the greatest universities in the world, but what is like in practice the difference between an Oxford alumni and like I don't know UCL or Imperials or alumni? Like what for them did Oxford bring and help them like in the professional life? I think it could be like a great format because we are also like listen to I think a lot of postgraduate students who want like who have like more professional things in their mind that freshers. So I think it could be a great thing if we find alumni, of course, would be keen to do that, and also just to about different societies also because I really like this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Juan?
Yes. So obviously, being a geography student myself, I'll be really interested in talking about my own subject, in specific, perhaps talking with current geographers about the interview process and admissions. I feel like that just is really helpful stuff for prospective students, and it should hopefully get more people to apply for geography. But I also think it is really essential to tell the perspective of students of what life at Oxford really is, perhaps with what we've mentioned before, daily routines, kind of the balance between work and social life, as I found this really to be really different from what I expected it to be. So definitely getting some of my friends on board with that and asking them what their daily life looks like. I think it would also be really quite interesting to do a Freshers Week kind of episode, kind of explaining my own experience of Freshers Week last year as an online event compared to this year being more in person, and how that compares or what you could usually get up to in Freshers Week. And as like more of like a niche one, I would really be interested in doing kind of the difference between Oxford and Cambridge, because I also think that's something people think about when applying to Oxbridge is, well, which one should I choose? I guess the first point of call is whether the course that you want to do is offered in both. But then if they are, like for me, I was like, oh, well, which one do I go to? Which one's the best one? I think I've got a few friends in Cambridge who are doing different subjects, but also geography. So I think it would be really interesting to get their perspective of what Cambridge geography or other subject had been and compare it to here, so that it gives the students more of an outlook as to what it looks like and the differences that there are.
Brilliant. So, I mean, wow, in just a few minutes, you guys have given us so many ideas. So yeah, if there are any, alumni, Cambridge students, people who run societies listening to this episode, you've got your hosts. Here you are. So, get in touch.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very excited to see the episodes that you guys make. And I'm sure our audience watching and listening are too. So thank you very much for joining us today, Rose and Juan. And of course, you're not like normal interview guests. We'll be seeing a lot more of you soon, I'm sure. And thank you very much to everyone who's been watching / listening. Do make sure to follow our Instagram at Oxford from the Inside and our Twitter, Ofty Podcast, at Ofty Podcast, that is. And we have a TikTok now. We've jumped onto that bandwagon at Oxford from the Inside. It's young, it's in its early stages, but definitely you want to be one of the first people on there, right? So go for it. Follow that as well. And we will, all of us, we will all see you very soon, hopefully, in the next one. Bye.
See you.
Bye.